Good morning, gang. Happy dark and early Wednesday morning. Well, here we are. As I'm recording this, we're about 28 hours after the cargo ship crash, disaster, whatever you want to call, in Baltimore yesterday. And more information's starting to come out about it. By now, everybody's probably seen the videos on it. Little bit of news on the captain, on the ship itself is starting to come out, and then how it affects all of us. Now, to give you this, I get a real kick out of the fact that within a couple hours after the accident, if you want to call it that, the Biden administration was like, oh, this wasn't an act of terrorism. Okay? It's got to be the quickest investigation in the history of the world, okay, that you can come to that conclusion that fast. Now, I'm not saying it was, okay, but if you watch the video, you'll see that twice before the ship hit the bridge, the power went out, okay, which was interesting. You look at how the ship was literally aimed directly at the bridge. Okay. This wasn't a glancing blow or anything. This was a head on hit. Okay. So you start asking questions. It's like, the hell was the ship doing there in the first place? How did the power go out? What's going on? Well, let's look at a couple of things, and then we're going to look at how this is going to affect all of us, right? First off, ironically, the captain of the ship happens to be Ukrainian. Go figure. Okay. The company that owns the ship is heavily involved, heavily supportive of DEI, which I really think needs to be changed to DIE. Okay. But Synergy Marine Group, the company that owns the Dolly here. Okay. Uh, their statement: diversity, equity, and inclusion are integral to the people strategy at Synergy Marine, very simply because this is the right thing to do and it resonates with the ethos of the organization in building a collaborative work environment. Yeah, DEI has done such a great job in, I don't know, why don't we ask Boeing about that? It seems like daily we've got plane parts falling out of the sky. Look at everything. The education system's collapsing, colleges because of DEI. Corporate America's collapsing because of DEI. Let's look at the high quality vice president or press secretary that we have because of DEI. Everything DEI touches turns to crap. Okay, simple as that. So then you look at this ship. Well, this ship was involved in a port accident back in 2016 in Europe. Okay. The ship was flagged by, of all places, Chile, okay, the country of, for massive problems with the ship's propulsion system, its electrical system. Yeah. You kind of need that for steering, okay? Uh, why is this ship still in the water? Okay. It was declared unseaworthy by Chile a year or so back. Amazing how they fixed it that fast, right? Got it seaworthy again. There's a lot that goes into this. The speculation of a cyber attack on the ship, which of course, the government is going to say, no, that's not possible. Right, okay. A whole lot of things are not possible. Ask, what was it, Tower 7 at the World Trade Center. But we'll figure this out. Not to get into conspiracy theories, but it's amazing how fast everything's been dismissed about this. All right. So then how does this affect all of us? All right. So you take a look at the Port of Baltimore. Now, the Port of Baltimore is a large port. It is not the uber major port that some people are trying to make out, but it's still a big one. It's the 9th largest port in the United States that handles international shipping. Okay. You look at what is handled there. Okay. I'll give you this one to start off. The Port of Baltimore is the largest port in the United States for the U.S. sugar industry. So you can figure out that anything that has sugar in it, which in the American diet is everything, okay, is going to go up in price because the largest sugar manufacturing facility is there at the Port of Baltimore, where the raw sugar comes in on the ship and then it is processed into white sugar, brown sugar, or whatever that we use every day. So you can certainly expect the price of sugar to go up, and pretty much anything else that's got sugar in it can count on that too. Okay. Farm equipment, construction equipment, automobiles, parts, okay, huge into the Port of Baltimore. Okay, I talked about this a little bit last night. Get busy on making sure you have spare parts for your car, okay? I'm not, like I said last night, I'm not talking about going out and having a backup transmission out in your garage or stuff, but have the things like oil filters, air filters, maybe brake pads, stuff like that. That's going to get harder to find, harder than it already is. Okay. Again, we go back to the supply chain disaster that we had during COVID with Port of Long Beach and everything in California, right? Okay. We're going to have, to a lesser extent, some of that here. Again, we've got a port that is basically completely useless, and it's going to take a while till that is cleaned up and everything is usable again. Okay. Carnival Cruise Lines, Norwegian Cruise Lines, they're a little worried. They pump nearly 500,000 passengers a year out of the Port of Baltimore on cruise ships. It's going to be interesting how they reschedule all of that, because it's not like cruise ships can just go pull into the local dock somewhere. Okay, you need large berths for them to pull into. How about coal? There's another one. Baltimore is one of the largest ports in the United States for transporting of coal. That might kind of go into the war on coal, right? Gee, how convenient that one of the major ports, basically the major port for exporting coal, is now out of commission. Interesting. Okay. You start looking at what's going on with this. I mean, there's nearly 250,000 people whose jobs depend on this port. Okay. Like Baltimore needs something else to go wrong. It's like, oh my God. Well, let's see. You can't get a job, but you can get killed in Baltimore. There's a great idea. What is going to happen from here? Certainly don't ask Pete Buttigieg, okay? He was almost laughing about this yesterday. Of course, he was back on his speeches calling bridges racist again. I guess this, ship collided with the bridge because of racism, because that's how it works. Biden, of course, announced that the federal government will pay to replace the bridge. Gee, Joe, maybe you can use some of that money from that infrastructure bill you passed last year on actually infrastructure. I mean, we know not a penny of it so far has gone to fix anything like a road, railroad system, an airport, bridges. Here's an opportunity to use your infrastructure bill on the infrastructure. I know it's a strange concept, the pet projects that Nancy Pelosi wants, or some of these other whack jobs, may have to be put on the back burner. No more, big parties to throw, or more ice cream, I guess, but paid for by the taxpayer. So the ice cream will probably stick in there. Joe needs his ice cream, and his diaper. But yeah, all those people that work at the ports, all those people that work for Domino Sugar, the aforementioned manufacturer there. Yeah, they're going to be unemployed for a while. I wonder how much money they're going to get from the federal government for their housing or their groceries. Unless, of course, we have a bunch of illegals that work for the Port Authority and for Domino Sugar. Then they'd get plenty. But the Americans that work there will probably be told, nah, you can get your 13 weeks of unemployment and that's it. Because there are so many other sugar processors right there in Baltimore that these people can take their skills and go work for another company. Again, because of the failure of, from the top down, from the federal government, from the state, from the city of Baltimore. I mean, big question. Where was the harbor master? Why weren't there tugboats, if you will, guiding that ship under a bridge? I mean, guys, give you this. That bridge, the metal component of that bridge, is a half a mile long. This is not some little bridge. There's a half a mile of twisted steel, cars, and a couple of bodies in the water there right now. It's going to be a while to clean that up. You look at what the cause is. Is the cause incompetence? Probably. Is the cause terrorism? Possibly. Don't you find it kind of interesting that it was the Francis Scott Key Bridge, the guy who wrote the Star Spangled Banner, an attack on America, possibly? Not trying to throw conspiracy out there, but just something to think about. I just look at this and I go, how's this one going to play out? Train derailments all over the place, right? We talk about that all the time. Airplanes falling apart. The shipping industry, this is the now second catastrophe under the Bozo Joe administration, the first one being Long Beach. Now we have Baltimore. Is there anything in regard to the transportation industry in the United States that isn't completely FUBAR? Oh, yeah, well, I guess when you put Pothole Pete in charge of it, the guy who couldn't figure out how to fill potholes in South Bend, Indiana, that happened to Metropolis. Hey, you're totally qualified to run the transportation infrastructure of the United States. You wonder why stuff's falling apart. This is going to affect all of us, from more inflation, like I said, sugar, car parts, etc., scarcity of things, plenty, jobs, 250,000 people. Be interesting to see how they spin the jobs number here next month about new unemployment deal. We created 250,000 new jobs. This is all these great things that Joe will talk about each month. Well, you just lost 250,000. Well, we created no new jobs. Oh, but you have to take out this and take out this and take out this and take out this. It's like, okay, if I, measured my weight by the way the Biden administration measures economic numbers, I'm probably Adonis at this point. But yeah, this is going to be a long-term mess that even if you don't live anywhere near Baltimore, is going to affect you. Read up on this. Pay attention to what's this. I don't trust this government. You know that. I still find it absolutely amazing that in a couple hours they can say it's not terrorism. Interesting how they can come up with that. Must have been another one of those great investigations like, the Steele dossier. But just watch this. This is going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And do what you can to get yourself insulated from any problems this one's going to cause. Have a good one, gang. Pinball out.